Genetics governs how the body is going to form. Genetics governs whether whether the bird is going to be big, small, blue, yellow, right? Whether they're going to be robust or whether they're going to be wimpy and vulnerable to disease. Genetics governs all of that. It also governs their instinctive behaviors. So if we go messing with their genetics, we are potentially reducing those natural abilities. Okay? So let's say you want a yellow macaw. Pure yellow, that's it. You can buy those. Now, how did they create that yellow macaw? Huh? Inbreeding, exactly. So somebody had a yellow one at some point, had a mutation, but you only had one yellow one. So how do we get more yellow ones? We breed them with their babies. Okay, and that way, the babies that have the yellow, we breed them with the first one, and you get more yellow that way. So you increase the number of yellow, and eventually you have more yellow. But is that good for their genetics? No, it's not. Is that going to help make their instinctive reactions to predators better? Probably not. Okay? Look at the pure breed dog world. Look what we've done to pure breed dogs. We've made a mess out of them. Okay? Health problems like crazy. We don't pay attention to breeding for function. We breed for color. We breed for what we like. So if you hybridize the birds, is that going to make their genetics better? It's actually not. It's probably not going to hurt them at this point. But what about in the future? So right now, how do we identify hybrids? We identify them by their parent species, right? Blue and gold macaw and green wing macaw. Okay, we know what we get when we mix those two. Scarlet macaw and military macaw. We know what we get when you mix those two. Okay, so when we start breeding hybrids to hybrids, now how are we going to identify them? Well, you've got a little bit of scarlet, a little bit of blue and gold, a little bit of green wing, a little bit of military. It's going to be a mess. So how are we going to identify them when that happens? We'll start identifying by their color. We will start looking for color traits that we want and breeding for color. And what happens when you breed for color? Inbreeding every time. It's going to go to inbreeding. Right now, the genetic issue isn't so bad when it comes to hybrids because both species still have the instinctive tendencies to evade predators. Okay, but as soon as we start inbreeding in that process, there's the potential for that to be damaged. I don't know about you, but I'm not in the business of raising and training parrots to feed to hawks. It's not what I'm about. I don't want to go buy baby birds and feed them to hawks. So I don't want that in my birds. I want my birds to have their full potential to deal with that predator attack. And then there's the question of, what about the future? Do we value having these animals in the future? We're not winning this fight in the wild for the most part. We're losing more birds out of the wild than we're protecting at this point. Maybe in the future we'll get better at it. In fact, I think we probably will. But we can only put them back in the wild if we have them in captivity to put back in the wild. But what if we've hybridized them? Can we put them back in the wild from hybrids? No, we can't. So the question then becomes, do you care about the conservation of these animals in the future? Your bird may be your pet today, but what happens after you're gone? Maybe he's going to become a breeder, and he will be part of that breeding population that helps us put him back in the wild someday. That can only happen if he's got clean genetics. If we've hybridized them, if we've allowed them to become weakened because of breeding for inbreeding, maybe the same species, but they're still weakened, then those birds are not going to be good for conservation in the future. I'm not totally against hybridizing. I own hybrids. I've flown hybrids. You're going to see videos of my birds that are hybrids. People gave me baby birds. So I trained them. I loved them. They were wonderful animals. And I made videos about it. I regret making those videos now because I have, without realizing it, what I was doing back then, I was having an influence on the future. On today, people around the world are flying hybrids partially because of my videos of flying hybrids. The birds were given to me as babies, and I loved them. But I also had a negative impact on the rest of the world as far as free-flying parrots goes. And I regret that. So I'm going to have to do something to address that at some point, making some videos or something, which is, I'm actually working on that.